Welcome back to another episode of Slamfire. I didn't realize it, but it has been years since I have gotten on here and talked the same old. And a lot has changed, a lot of things have happened. Some things for the better, some things for the worst, but for the most part, we're still here. And it doesn't seem like things are getting really any better in terms of the world around us. And I kind of wanted to jump back into this and give an update and hopefully turn this into a consistent routine. So before we get started, as you guys know, slamfiremedia.com, I post all the videos, links, and things like that wherever you want to watch the video, whether it be on BitChute, YouTube, or Rumble. I rarely post on Gab and Truth Social. I'm not really a social media type of person. I really don't like to be checking. I have an Instagram. I don't use it. I rarely use it. So that's just there for y'all's information. Makes it easier for people to navigate, find videos and things like that. So the format's going to stay the same, but it'll change in the sense that I will not have the same structure to the videos, I guess, if that makes sense. Whereas before I would have a theme about a certain topic that I wanted to talk about, and I would give kind of an overarching message about that topic and then kind of tie it all together around that certain theme that I was going for. But this time around, I really don't have the time to create those scripts and messages and everything like that. I could cheese it and just do like an AI thing for it, but I'm not really into the whole AI slop thing. That's kind of the trend now. So I want to start this, semi-new, semi-fresh format where I'm kind of just talking about what I think. But in the sense, we're still staying the same, and that overarching idea that we left off with in the original Slamfire episodes was self-resilience, self-dependency. And that's kind of the, I guess, quote unquote theme for this one. That's for this episode that I kind of wanted to talk about. It's basically the overabundance of dependency and convenience in our society today has really put us in a spot where it's just a downward spiral. It's just inevitably the way that I'm viewing things happening, that things just keep getting worse and worse and worse. They progress into a certain point, to a crescendo, if you will, and it just collapses. And everyone else sees it, but I'm seeing it from a different point of view. I'm basically like your average Joe Schmo type of person. Kind of just going through life, trying to, get better with myself, get closer to God, and, try to be as best of a person as I possibly can be for my family. And it's a struggle. I fail, constantly, on a daily basis, multiple times a day sometimes, but it's something that I understand is not going to come overnight, and that's the struggle. That's the struggle of being a man. That's the struggle of being a human being, of being one of God's creations, and having that free will that God, in His infinite wisdom, Jesus Christ, gave us in order for us to figure it out, to find our own way. And that kind of leads us back into this whole idea of dependency and convenience. So, with all that stuff set aside, let's get started. So I really don't have links for you guys. I've been watching some videos. I've been watching some things here and there. Politically, culturally, spiritually, I've been kind of all over the place. I've even had my fair share of escapism, I guess, whatever you want to call it. Just watching nonsense stuff, video game stuff and memes related stuff, just to try to balance things out, because you can't have too much of one thing. It's just bad. It'll put you down a rabbit hole, and sometimes you can't dig yourself out. It's very, I've seen it happen. It's happening to some people that I know right now, and it's kind of scary. So it's important to have that balance. So with that, dependency, convenience. It's all around us. The big thing that I used to have, the theory in term, the overarching reasoning as to why I would think the things that I thought in terms of my theories and what's going on in the world was capitalism. Hear me out. I know I don't want to come off as a communist, Marxist, socialist type of person. I'm very much the opposite. But um, the way I've explained things to people, I have some friends of mine that are really big business guys. They do real estate, they do construction, they make money, and they they do things differently. They think differently, and I've been able to get in good with them in the sense that they're kind enough people. You know, they're Christians, and they're very honest about the things that they say and the things that they do. So it makes it easier for me to talk to them and kind of pick their brain and get an idea of what is and why type of thing, not just in terms of business, but like philosophically as well. And a conversation I was having with one of my buddies, he had just brokered a big deal, huge deal, and it was there was some celebration going on. You know, we made a lot of money, so let's spend a lot of money type of thing going on. And well, not we, but I was speaking in terms like for him, him and his business people. And he invited me over, and we were talking, and everything's cordial. Like we could offend each other, left and right, back and forth, and it's all in good fun. We don't get upset about things like that. We kind of just brush it off aside, and it's we're just kind of shooting the shit type of thing. So we were talking, and I was asking him about these different things, different aspects, and kind of just clicked in my mind of the idea of capitalism. And I told him, I said, I love the idea of capitalism. Ideally, capitalism, not ideally, in reality, capitalism is the best system that we have for a person to take their life into their own hands, make something out of nothing, and produce something not only for him, but for his family and for his community. It's a great system. It's something that I'm trying to myself jump into and take advantage of in terms of creating my own money, my own wealth, and the freedom to say, I don't want to do business with you, and if you don't want to do business with me, then sorry. We let's move on. No hard feelings, and just go our separate ways. You're not tied to a desk. You're not tied to an obligation, a contract, if you will, where by my trade professionally, I'm contracted on a yearly basis. And for that contract, for that year, I kind of belong to an entity, and it feels ugly. You're in a constant mode of customer service. And customer service is all fine and good, but when you're forced to do it, it's really difficult. It's rough. It's draining. It's draining on you. It eventually bleeds into your family. It's draining on your family because that stress you just bring it home, and you're always constantly worried that you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose your contract, you're going to, ruffle the wrong feathers, and it's a horrible feeling knowing that that someone else is in control, and you're not necessarily able to sway. Once someone has a thought in their mind, they're kind of locked in, and you can't sway that one way or the other, and there's nothing you can do about it. You're just stuck in that position. Whereas, you know, capitalism, starting your own business, making your own money, if it becomes too much, be like, well, this is a lot. So if you want me to do it, I'm going to charge this much. You're going to have to make it worth my while. And if you don't, then we just part ways, and next time maybe we can make a deal. And if we can't, and if we can, great. If we can't, that's great too. It just didn't work out this time. And it's such a natural way of, I don't know how to describe it. It's just a natural way of interaction with people, socializing with people. It just makes it much more easier, not only for the business side, but for the relationships side, the non-business side. And I was having this conversation with my buddy, I told him it's great, but on the flip side, what does it lead to? What I've noticed it leads to, you have people that they'll do whatever it takes to make money. And so long as you're making money, you're doing good. You're getting that affirmation of, I just need to keep doing this no matter how many lives I ruin, no matter how many people get, lost in the fray. I'm making money. So that means I'm doing something good, right? It's that positive feedback loop where money keeps coming in. So I need to keep doing whatever it is I was doing in order for that money to keep coming in. And it's scary. It's scary because it leads people to start thinking of people as kind of dollar signs, as a resource rather than actual people. So you're not doing things for the sake of their benefit. You're doing things just because it happens to make the people open their wallets and give you money, right? So there's a line, you know what I mean? And that line just gets erased really quickly once you start making a lot of money, and integrity goes out the door, ethics go out the door. And sure, you have all this money, you're sitting on all this wealth, but look at all like the chaos and ruin that trails behind you in the process of making that money. And that is in the sense of capitalism is good, but at what cost? So then the idea of, I was playing around with that idea. I wasn't firm, and he kind of gave me pushback, and I was going back and forth. And it wasn't a thing where I was like, this is definitively the reason. Capitalism is good, but unfettered capitalism or unchecked capitalism regulations need to be there because look at what can happen to society. That was just kind of like my, quote unquote rough draft. That was the idea that I was playing with. It wasn't something that I had solidified into my brain that this is what the reason is why things are getting so bad. So time went on. This was like, years uh, going on. And sure enough, my wife and I, we have a baby. I start a business. Things start changing. I start changing. I'm starting to notice things a little bit more. And I kind of evolved that with my current experience of, having my kid and where I'm working and seeing the life that I want for my son, to show him how important it is to be able to provide for yourself, not just exist, because that's what I'm doing now. I started very, very late. I wish I had a father in my life who instilled in me the idea of self-reliance, dependency, not depending on anybody else, and being able to make my own money, teaching me that. And I just never had that. But I'm so glad I found out about it now that my son is so young. As he gets older, I'll be able to instill those ideas in it. And that kind of gives me hope for the future that, I'm sure I'm not the only one who's figured this out. There's people out there that are way, way more smart, way more intuitive, smarter than I am by far. And, hopefully they're out there having kids and they're instilling good ideas and they're in the right professions and they're able to make an impact on people more so than I am. And, yeah, that's what kind of brought me to starting this episode. So that idea of dependency and convenience. So what happens, or what are we seeing now in terms of businesses and entities that are just almost their own government type of thing, that no one tells them what to do. It's a rounding error for them in terms of their books, for them to make a mistake and just like, oh, we'll just pay it off. These companies are just getting so big and so I can't even describe it. They're just, it's almost like if they were to be gone overnight, there would be huge. It would rock the entire world. Like just think about like Walmart. I'm in Texas, and our big Walmart or our big like convenience store, our Kroger, our whatever, is HEB. HEB is a huge staple in Texas. If we didn't have HEB, there'd be people that they wouldn't be able to survive. They wouldn't be able to sustain themselves because they need to go there to get their food. Food stamps, WIC, whatever you want to call it. Um, Walmart, HEB. You have like these big box stores, Home Depot, Lowe's. You have all these big companies, the big corporations, like the biggest one I just off the top of my head I can think of, Google, Apple, Microsoft. What if these companies were just gone overnight? Just something happened. There was some sort of, whatever, some sort of Evangelion event. Something happens. And these companies are just gone overnight. What do you think would happen to society? I think society would just devolve overnight. It would just become rampant and just everyone just going crazy and doing whatever it is that they can do to fend for themselves. And it would be brutal. It'd be nasty. So I thought, okay, what would be the balance to that? Because usually when you have someone so think of it like a house, right? So you have a house and you turn up the AC, right, to make it hotter. You push the button and it keeps getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And eventually it gets so hot in your house, you're sitting there, you're just sweating in your own house and you're like, oh my God, it's like so uncomfortable in here. What am I going to do? Okay, I'm going to lower down the AC. I'm going to push the button and introduce like the Freon into my house, right? And it's going to cool down the temperature and it's going to make it more livable, more comfortable. So you have that balance, right? You're constantly introducing something into the system in order to make it comfortable, in order to make it tolerable, right? So I started thinking, what would be the counter or the balance, the thing that we introduce into the system when it comes to these companies just creating dependency for people? What could we introduce into the system in order to balance that out, to counter that? And then it kind of just clicked, and it was dependency and convenience. Getting rid of the dependency that we have on these companies, on these entities, getting rid of the convenience that we so much desire that just makes life so much easier, getting rid of that, or at least balancing it out, I believe would create a system, not necessarily a system, but an environment where things are cooling down because people are no longer reliant on these places, on these things, on these entities in order to get their need. Like, sure, it's there, it's available, but with moderation brings calmness because you cannot have too much of a good thing. You can't have too much of a bad thing. You need that balance. There's balance in everything. And that's where it kind of clicked for me. And that's what forced me to come back to, Slamfire, because I started thinking, I had been talking about this my whole, Slamfire, episode saga, whatever you want to call it, my series or whatever. And I never really tied the two together. And now it just clicked and it made the picture just so much clearer. You need to have a sense of self-resilience, self-reliance, if you will. You cannot have the system in control of you to the point where if it's gone, whatever system it may be, it could be your work, it could be your home life, it could be your personal life, it could be your anything. You cannot have a system in place that if you or that system was gone, you wouldn't be able to function. You need to have some sort of sustainability on your own end, your ability to do something in order to make sure that the wheel keeps rolling for you, not for the system, but for you. Because we've built a society that's based off success. If you are not succeeding, then you're worthless. Then it's bad. It's almost like taboo. For people to fail in today's world, it's like a curse or something. It's almost like an unmentionable. You're not supposed to talk about your failures. You're always supposed to be succeeding all the time. And you see it on social media all the time. That's why I really don't like Instagram. I really don't like I don't even have TikTok installed, but all those social media sites, Instagram, TikTok, I don't even know if people use Snapchat anymore, but all those things like Facebook, I'm an older millennial, I guess. And everyone still uses Facebook and people post nothing but their successes. Look at my new car. Look at this vacation that I went on. Look how great I'm doing. Look how everything is wonderful. So people start thinking, I'm not doing that. I'm not going on vacations. I'm not going out and having drinks. I'm not going to the store and buying all of these cool things. I'm here. I'm grinding it out. So they see this on social media and they think that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be succeeding. I'm supposed to be winning all the time. I'm not supposed to be losing. I'm not supposed to be struggling. And it creates kind of a negative feedback loop where you try to do something and it's not up to a certain standard. So you think, then I just won't do it. So it creates that feedback loop. And you're just like, I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to do it up to a certain standard. It's not going to be right. And I'm just going to quit before I even start. So you're stuck and it leads you to where? Dependency. It leads you to convenience. How do I get those things as easy as possible? Because I obviously can't get them the way it looks like everybody else is getting them, or I can't get it at all. So I turn to convenience. Let me just get a credit card. Let me go into debt really quick. It's okay because that's what everyone's doing. I can't get it with what I'm doing now. So I got to find a way to get it. So what's convenient? I go and get a credit card and I just put it on the credit card. Look how easy it is. It's okay. You don't even feel it in your wallet, literally. You don't feel it in your wallet. It's like an imaginary number in your head. And then once that credit card gets maxed out, oh well, now I got to go back to my job and now I'm dependent on my job because if I don't make enough money to make that minimum payment on that credit card, bad things, your credit score starts dropping, it starts affecting you. Now I can't buy a car that I want. I can't get another credit card. I can't keep the cycle going. So it's scary in the sense that it's so normal for people to think that failure is not an option. And I don't like that concept because failure is an option. Failure is almost necessary. You need to fail in order for you to learn. You need to fail in order for you to get a clear understanding of why something doesn't work. And that's what people don't understand. That's what people don't want to understand because it's so convenient for you to have something that just works. And it kind of leads me to another thing I was thinking about with a coworker, and I got so much shit for it. And it's kind of funny me thinking about it now. It was funny back then, but now it's even funnier. I kind of was playing with the idea of ownership. Do you really own something? Like, what makes you own something? Like, something belong to you? And we were talking about like a weed eater, or a lawnmower, or something like that. And he said like, yeah, I took it to a guy to try to get it fixed and this and that. And my weed eaters, and he was saying, yeah, my weed eater this and my weed eater that, my. And I started thinking, I'm like, is it really your weed eater if you can't fix it? If something breaks down and you need someone else to be there in order for it to continue to work, do you really own it? And it was just an idea that I was playing with. I was just kind of stirring the pot. I really wasn't trying to go deep into, philosophical world and change someone's viewpoint or anything like that. It was just an idea that I was just playing with, but kind of rings true to what's going on now. Do you really own your own life if you can't provide for yourself? You know what I mean? It's something that I've thought about. It's something that I didn't really understand until I became a father, until I became a person where people turn to and they ask me for either advice or questions or something to help them with a project, with something that they're trying to do. And I started thinking like, man, what if I needed that and I didn't have a person? What if I needed something like someone comes to me and they have a project, hey, I'm trying to get this done. And I won't divulge the nature of my business yet, but they have a project, they have an issue that came up, and they're seeking my services. So they come to me, and I provide a proposal, and whether they accept it or not depends on whether I move on. Let's say they accept it, and they say, "Hey, I have a problem with this and that. Can you help me?" I said, "Yes, I can, and this is how I can do it, and this is how much it's going to cost." So, in this case, hypothetically, they accept it, and I go on, I fix it, and I make sure everything is working. I provide the customer with their solution, and, you know, everything's good, everything good in the world, right? So I never really paid much attention to it. I was just thinking on the business aspect of it. How can I do what I do and do it as good as I can so I can, you know, make some money? And, it's something that I enjoy doing anyway. So might as well make some money while I do something that I enjoy. Just have to do a little bit extra paperwork. So got me thinking, what if I was on the flip side, which I am all the time, and I think I need to get this done. This needs to get done. If it doesn't, I'm going to be in some serious trouble. And I don't have that person or that entity or that service there to help me get it done. You can put yourself in a bad spot really quick. And I'm pretty sure there's a couple of people out there that can think of a situation where something was happening, something was going down, and you needed something. You needed someone. You needed some sort of service. You needed some help, and you were able to get it. And if you weren't able to get it, like put yourself in that position, that mindset of, if I was in this situation and I needed something to get done and I didn't have that something to get done, I'd be in a lot of trouble, or I'd be in a big hole with no shovel, just stuck, right? So it leads me back to that whole, it kind of tied everything in, like kind of full circle of the issue of dependency and convenience that we are in right now. Our country, I feel like it feels like countries around the world, since we have such an immigration problem right now. Everyone just wants to come to the United States. Supposedly, everyone on one side is saying that the United States is a horrible place. It's the worst country in the world. Yet everybody seems to want to come over here. So that leads me to think that everybody else has their own problems, and that they're trying to get away from. And we seem to be the greener grass on the other side of the fence. Everybody is looking for that dependency and convenience. They're so used to having it, and when their country or wherever they're from doesn't provide it, they, instead of creating that self-reliance, creating their own dependency, not worried about convenience, when they can't get that on their own, they go and try and get it from somewhere else. And it's almost like a plague. And it's scary, because how do you deprogram that? How do you take that convenience and dependency and start to wean someone off of that? I don't see that happening. I don't see it happening. So I think that I don't want this to be like a black pill or anything like that. But we have people who are seeing this. We have people who are aware of what's going on. And I guess it's kind of, I don't know what the correct word is for it, but I think the last video that I did on Slamfire was about a shooting in Uvalde. And it seems that I'm kind of coming back off the curtails of the shooting of Charlie Kirk. And it's kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say poetic. It's just kind of interesting in that sense that things are happening. Things are happening, and people are not ready to admit that they are happening, or they're not ready to be put in that situation where life is going to change. Things are going to change whether you like it or not. And with that, that black pill comes the saving grace on the other end, is that we know that this is going to happen. We know we can prepare for it mentally already, at the very least mentally, at least being aware of it. And I know that's something that I've learned, especially now with my son. I don't have a lot of patience. I'm not a very patient person. I'm trying to. I try to be, but like I said, I fail every day. I fail multiple times a day. I fail all the time. In all aspects of life, I fail. And that's the thing. I've never really been scared of failure, but I've felt the pressure in the terms of society doesn't expect you to fail. Society expects you to be perfect all the time, and I falter. And it is what it is. I'm a human being, and every day it's difficult. It's a challenge. But with my son, I've started to recognize patterns and know things. I say, oh, this is going to be the thing that's going to start to make him cry. This is going to make him cry. So I mentally prepare. He's going to cry. It's going to be okay. And this is how we can calm him down. And it's not a lot of things. It's not crazy or anything like that, but it's just that pattern recognition. Same thing for my wife. I've started to notice this is going to bother her. This is going to happen. She's going to react like this, and she's probably going to be bothered by this or that. So what can I do to just let it, what afterwards, what can I do to kind of soothe the situation, make everything okay? Because I know it's going to happen. So in the same aspect, we can use this downfall, this collapse. That's, it happens all the time. It's just a natural order of things. Things get so big, and what happens? It's just a law of nature, right? It just collapses within to itself. And this idea of dependency and convenience, when it reaches a breaking point, what's going to happen? People are going to be reaching out. People are going to be struggling. People are going to be looking for that dependency and convenience, but it's not going to be there. It's not going to be there. And what do? So I only have surface level answers right now. I'm not here to give answers. I'm just here to kind of show my perspective and just talk about things to vent. This is also for like my mental health, but I'm pretty sure it could help some people out there too that have been thinking about stuff like this. And this will kind of help you alleviate those thoughts, because that was a big problem that I used to have, that I would just be stuck in my own mind, and I feel like I'm going crazy. I feel like I'm going crazy because I see things and I say things, yet people don't get it. And I can be telling them, the sky's going to fall, the sky's going to fall, the sky's going to fall. Or not even the sky's going to fall. The sky is falling. It's falling. It's falling right now. Just look up. And they just will not look up. They just won't look up. And they'll look up and they'll act like they can't see anymore, or they'll be blinded by something. And that's what I'm seeing now. And it bothers me. It bothers me because you see it happening. You see the truth, yet you can't show anybody the truth. They don't want to see it, or they can't see it. And it's frustrating. And I just want people to know that you're not crazy. We're not crazy. Because if we were, there'd be a lot of there'd be more bad things happening. It'd be way worse than it is now. But back to the idea of dependency and convenience, we need to start weaning ourselves off of being dependent on somebody or someone or something for the things that we want, the things that we need. We need to create our own wants and needs. Our needs, our gratification, the things that give us that little dopamine hit. It needs to stop coming from YouTube videos. It needs to stop coming from porn. It needs to stop coming from alcohol. It needs to stop coming from drugs. It needs to stop coming from Amazon. It needs to stop coming from Temu. It needs to stop coming from TikTok. It needs to stop coming from all of these places, all of these things that make money off of your attention. I'm not saying go cold turkey and completely cut this stuff off. I'm saying go out and look for something that you find generally interested in that solely benefits you. I enjoy paintball. I like playing paintball when I was younger, and I played a lot of paintball, and I found my old paintball markers. There's some old intimidators. I had alias intimidator. If you guys know what I'm talking about, I have some old 2K5 intimidators, Russian Legion one before they got sponsored by before they left Bob Long, and they got what was it? They I forgot what they changed their markers. They had Bob Long intimidators, and then they went and got some other Russian Legion intimidators. Or they weren't intimidators. Was it the Ego? I don't remember. But I got there. I loved their. It was the same model, but it's a little bit more sleeker design. I have a Russian Legion Intimidator and an old 2K5 Alias Intimidator, and I love those things. They're just so much fun. Just little intricacies of them, all little the hoseless designs of of the markers, or the modern markers are cool, but I don't know. I just like that hose goes into the regulator, and then I don't know, just the whole look, the poppets, and the sound of the gun, the way that it shoots, just the mechanics of it, the aesthetic of it. It's just so much fun. I just like to like tinker with them, take things apart, see how they work, and I find a lot of gratification in that, like taking something apart, seeing how it works, putting it back together, knowing that if something breaks, if something goes wrong, you can kind of fix it. You can kind of troubleshoot it and see like, oh, this should be doing this, but it's not. So that's probably the issue. And I do the same thing like firearms. I'll get something and tinker with it, see how it works, take it apart, and play with different uh, parts of the gun and learn why this is the way that it is, so that if later on I have an issue, I know how to fix it. And it brings me gratification. I'm not really doing anything. I'm not producing a product. I'm not doing something to sell it or to make some money off of it or anything like that. I'm doing it just because I enjoy doing it. I love cutting the grass, doing some yard work. I haven't had time to do it, but I love doing it. The gratification that I get from seeing a yard that's nasty and overgrown, and then turning back and looking to see the product that I made, cutting the grass and it being nice and everything nice, looking nice and neat. It's I don't know. Maybe it's an autism thing. I don't know, but I get gratification from that. I'm sure there's something out there. I know people, they love painting. Go paint something, go build something, and don't get it twisted. I make mistakes. I make mistakes when I'm doing the things that I love, and I'm starting to learn that that's okay. That's okay. You don't have to be perfect. Things don't need to be perfect. If things were meant to be perfect, I mean, I don't even have a flip side to that coin. It's just crazy to me that it's impossible for things to be perfect. We live in an imperfect world. It's not perfect. It's okay for you to make mistakes. It's okay to mess something up. It's gonna happen. It happens all the time. And on the flip side too, you don't need to be posting everything. You don't need to put everything on social media. You don't need to record everything and show everybody how good you're doing. You don't need someone else's validation. I think doing things like that will really help us start to whine off of dependency and convenience. Of course, you got to buy food. You need to get the things that you need for your family. You need food. You need milk. You need eggs. You need all those things. But you got to take baby steps. Baby steps. Not everyone has the convenience or has the ability to get some chickens and get some cattle and do all that stuff. We don't have that anymore, where those days are long gone. But we do have things that are within our control to help us start waning off of that convenience, waning off that dependency. One thing I would like you to try that I've done, it's hard. It's hard. I'm not saying this is easy. You're going to fail, and it's okay. Try going for a walk, or try going to the mall or wherever it is you go to where there's like a social environment of people or whatever. I would say do a walk, because the walks are usually by yourself, especially if you have like a trail. If you have a trail, or even around your neighborhood or around your house, whatever, try doing that without your headphones on. Don't wear your headphones. Don't have your phone. No phone, no headphones. Carry a firearm if you can. If you can't legally, carry a firearm just in case. But have no phone, no headphone. Just go for a 5-minute walk, 10-minute walk, just on your own, by yourself. Have whatever, let whatever go into your head. It doesn't matter. It could be, man, I really want my phone right now. Man, I wish I had my phone. I would probably be listening to this. I'd be listening to that. I'd be doing this. Let those thoughts go through. Let them come in. Let whatever goes into your head go into your head. But just get through that 5-10 minute walk without any electronics. Try that. Try doing that. And then, maybe later on you can extend it. 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes. And pretty soon you'll start to realize, hey, I haven't had my phone in over an hour. And what happened? Nothing. The world didn't end. I didn't miss out on anything. Your thoughts are going to become more healthy. Your state of mind is going to become more stable. I know because it's happened to me. Right? It's something that I've worked on, that I'm still working on. Don't get me wrong, I still fail. I fail all the time. But there are times that you're going to need it's okay to put your headphones in. I'm not saying to go cold turkey. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying cut everything off. But just try this thing. The whole point isn't to become completely self-reliant, completely self-dependent. It's that is the ultimate goal, but we're not going to reach that. That's not going to happen anytime soon. We're talking about weaning off the ability to teach yourself that you're capable of being with yourself, providing for yourself, providing for your family, being with your family, being useful to your family, being useful to yourself. That's what we're trying to get to. And it's okay to fail. We need to get off that mentality of, when I do it, it needs to be done right and it needs to be correct. And if I'm going to do something and there's even a slight chance of me not being able to do it right or complete it, then I'm just not going to do it at all. We need to get off of that mentality. We need to just do things. Start being okay with ourselves, being happy with the products that we're producing. Because it's good enough. It's good enough for us. It doesn't need to be good enough for everybody right now. We're not selling a product. We're not doing anything. We're trying to do things for ourselves. We're trying to make ourselves self-dependent, self-reliant, capable of doing things ourselves. I think that is the counterbalance to capitalism, the counterbalance to where society is heading right now, just degeneracy and complete loss of value for human life. There are going to be people out there. There are people out there who want you to fail, who want you dead, who want you gone. Those people are going to exist no matter what you do. And that's something, maybe I can save that for another episode. That's something else that we need to be comfortable with. Talk about that later. But there are too many people out there that think that if I'm good to somebody, that means someone's going to be good back to me. We need to, that kind of leads back to this thing too. It's so convenient for me to try to be nice to somebody because they can be nice back to me. And sometimes that's not the case. And there's just people out there that they are a certain way and they do things a certain way, and that's fine. They need to just stay over there. But even my past episodes, my past Slamfire episodes, you need to protect yourself. We all need to protect ourselves. That's something that has never changed since the dawn of time, dawn of humanity, dawn of people. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon, at least not within our lifetime. Maybe in the future, there will be some sort of utopia or something where people are just nice all over. And, maybe there's an alternate universe or something like that, like a parallel universe that whenever you do something nice, it releases karma or releases energy into the universe or something. And the nicer you are to people, the more energy gets released into the universe. And it's just, you can make that's what creates abundance and happiness or whatever. But that's not here. That's not here. In our universe, resources are scarce. Scarcity. There's scarcity in our universe. And with scarcity comes conflict. And with conflict comes struggle. So it's just kind of a product of our universe. So you still want to protect yourself. That's something that I'm never going to stop saying. Protect yourself mentally, physically, spiritually. Protect yourself, because there is evil out there. Evil exists and it wants us gone. It wants good gone. But wrapping it up, dependency and convenience. We need to start winding down our dependency on entertainment, our dependency on convenience. We need to start winding down, getting rid of that, because I truly feel that it is a big contributing factor to why things are the way that they are. We look to leaders because we can't lead ourselves, right? We look to companies to provide us with things because we can't provide for ourselves. That convenience, it's a slippery slope. And I feel like we're on the bottom part of that slope, and we're just sliding on down. But there is hope. there's hope. We have the ability to adapt. We have the ability to change. We have the ability to make things better for ourselves. But don't get it twisted. We still need to protect ourselves because there are people who would love nothing but to see us fail. So, with that, thank you for watching. I'm going to try to make this as regular as I can. I do want to start another type of video series where I kind of go into like my business things that I'm doing. I don't want to talk about it right now. Maybe create a sense of suspense for the few people that do watch this. Go into my business side of things, the things that I'm doing to make a little money on the side. And it's not like a big business thing or anything like that. It's just, it's a hobby that I used to do. And I thought, hey, I have a lot of people coming to me. Why not turn this into a business and make a little money doing something that I'm already doing, right? And I'm not making tons of money. I'm not doing anything crazy, but it'll be fun to see those things because I like to tinker with stuff. Maybe there'll be some people out there who like to tinker with stuff too, and get some a little bit ASMR or get some enjoyment out of it, some entertainment, some not even some entertainment, but some knowledge, right? So learn how to do things for yourself, type of thing. But I don't know. I kind of find that entertaining too. Learning how to do things for yourself. It's kind of fun. It's it's kind of a, I don't know, like an irony type of thing. Ironic that I talk about being dependent, but the things that make me dependent, or the things that make me less dependent, I find fun and convenient. So I don't know, just a little food for thought, I guess. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. For those of you who had been watching the videos, who had watched them, I really appreciate it. The YouTube, I'm going to try to get into the whole routine again of posting everything on those three main channels, the BitChute, YouTube, and Rumble, and keep the ball rolling. I know it's been a while, but again, I really appreciate you guys for watching. You guys take it easy. Stay safe.